An extraction game sees you heading into an instance with NPCs and other players to fight, items and weapons to collect, and everything that you have on the line. Unless you make it back out in one piece, you lose everything. If you do make it out though, you'll be able to organize your items outside of the instance, use them to earn currency and trade them for better ones to go back in that much stronger, and with that much more on the line. That's it, rinse and repeat. So what makes them so incredibly addictive? I'm Bucky Mayer, and today I'll be explaining why extraction games are so much fun using Dark and Darker as my example. I followed Dark and Darker loosely through their last playtest, and by that I mean I clicked into a few streams before shortly clicking out. Honestly, I didn't really get the appeal. The gameplay seemed clunky, and while I had heard of games like Escape from Tarkov, it wasn't really for me, or so I thought. Eventually though, since the game was free, I decided to give it a download so that me and one of my good friends could switch up our regular him carrying me in League play sessions to trying something new. For those that aren't familiar with Dark and Darker, simply put, you choose a class and venture into an instance for up to around 10 minutes. You explore, kill mobs, players, and avoid the gas circle closing in, similar to Battle Royale games. Eventually, some portals start spawning that you can use to get out, if you're so lucky. We went in relatively blind, and we died a lot, but we couldn't stop playing. We felt like we were learning something new every single time we dropped in before being quickly killed by some skeleton, zombie poison gas, oh my god, I hate that poison gas, trap, or player. And after every run, there was the allure of, we're going to make it out this time. In just 3 days, I had sunk over 11 hours into the game before the playtest ended. Once the playtest ended, to distract myself from the torture of waiting for the next one, I wanted to break down why, on a psychological level, Dark and Darker, and other popular extraction games, are so compelling. Now, while there's a lot that goes into it, there are two key points that, in combination, lead to an engaging and addictive experience. The core loop of Dark and Darker is one that hits both on gambling and competition. As mentioned, and at a high level, the core loop that's repeated in Dark and Darker is entering the dungeon, where you risk everything you bring in for the chance to leave with even more, and getting out, where you earn currency and items to equip to better increase your odds and risk next time. Now imagine a game of blackjack. You risk everything you bet for the chance to get out of the hand with more money than you started with. The motivations for this game combine elements of gambling and competition. Now, gambling, according to Mayo Clinic, means that you're willing to risk something you value in the hope of getting something of even greater value. Both winning and losing evoke strong emotion, with dopamine being released when getting out with more than you went in with. In this sense, betting on a hand of blackjack or on the items you bring in with you in Dark and Darker seem fairly comparable. Beyond that though, Dark and Darker hits on another common motivation to gaming, which is competition. As with each run, you're likely to run into other players you must beat out to secure your portal back. In research publication explaining the enjoyment of playing video games, The Role of Competition, by Peter Vorderer, Thilo Hartmann, and Christoph Klimt, competition as a key element for games entertainment experience and as a motivation is explored. Some key points that I want to pull out of that are, many computer and video games can be regarded as media offerings that effectively induce situations of social competition, which can be instrumentalized by the user in order to maintain his or her self-esteem and to strive for positive moods. The desire for maintaining or enhancing one's own self-esteem and the search for these positive moods should be regarded as general factors that motivate people to seek for social competition. A stronger general need for a better self-esteem and for positive moods and a stronger competitiveness of the social value orientation should lead to a more intense motivation to challenge opponents in a computer game. In turn, if such a motivation is accompanied by proper capabilities, i.e. a high self-efficacy, the user's likelihood to select competitive computer games should be enhanced. This all means that basically, because each run of Dark and Darker, you're competing against other players with the high element of risk, and because the combat requires precision and accuracy, the feeling of beating other players and making it out increases self-esteem and mood overall, likely in part due to the release of dopamine your brain rewards you with. Hardcore survival games have been around for ages, and with them inherently comes risk. Dark and Darker balances that feeling of risk while never straying you too far from the core loop, as more loot is just always another run away. Not straying you too far from the core loop is where Dark and Darker differentiates itself from other hardcore survival games like DayZ, where you can spend hours getting all of your loot, and once you die, it is gone, and it's that much more intimidating to try and get it all back. This means that Dark and Darker is more approachable for people that aren't quite ready to hop back in that core loop and get geared up again. The core loop of Dark and Darker provides you opportunities for the thrill of gambling, as whatever you bring in with you, you naturally have a chance of losing in many different ways. You need to prove yourself in competition, whether with NPCs, the dungeon itself, or other players, which enhances the risk and reward of the gamble far more. And while there's no money on the line, like with our blackjack example, all of those elements make it feel as risky and thrilling as gambling with money might. All of this in combination provides outcomes of each run, including extremely high highs and low lows, evoking strong emotion and desire to keep playing to see what you can win next time you descend into the dungeon. I'm in love with Dark and Darker, and I want to give huge props to the dev team for the game they've built and for the press and PR that they really deserve that they're getting now. I cannot wait to play more as soon as it becomes available again. Now, I know there are so many more things that go into Dark and Darker as to why it's such an incredible game, like the depth of mechanics and the social aspects, but I'd love to hear what you think. What else adds to the experience in making this such an incredible game that I know we're all waiting to play again? So I'd love to hear in the comments what you think are things that either you love that are already in it, or what you're looking forward to in the future of the game. If you like this video, and since you made it all the way to the end, kudos to you. I would love if you subscribed, and it'd be pretty cool if you liked the video as well. But anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'm Bucky Mayer, and I hope to see you next time.